The elevator lurched like a dying animal, metal screeching against metal as we plummeted 3 floors before slamming to a halt, the lights flickering out into suffocating black. My heart exploded in my chest, and I grabbed for the only solid thing in the chaos: Marcus's arm, his skin hot and slick with instant sweat under my fingers. "Elijah!" he gasped, his voice cracking like thunder in the dark. "Hold on, God. Don't let go. We're not dying like this, not after everything." I don't remember much from the seconds after that drop, just the acrid smell of burnt wiring and the way my stepbrother's body crashed into mine, pinning me against the cold steel wall. We'd been fighting again. Stupid, venomous words hurled over nothing in the lobby of our family's old Upper West Side brownstone. The kind of blowout that had become our ritual since Dad married his mom 5 years ago. Marcus, with his easy charm and that infuriating grin that hit a knife's edge, had accused me of being too uptight, too buried in my graphic design gigs to actually live. I'd fired back that he was still the same reckless asshole who'd shattered my world back in high school. And now we were trapped 20 stories up, the emergency phone dead, our screams echoing into silence. The backup lights kicked in with a sickly red glow, painting the tiny box like a crime scene. Marcus shoved off me, breathing hard, his broad shoulders heaving under the faded Yankees tee he'd thrown on that morning. At 24, he looked every bit the golden boy, tall, built from years of pickup basketball in Brooklyn parks, his hazel eyes sharp even in panic. Me? I was the wiry one, all angles and shadows, with ink-stained fingers and a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow that made me look older than my 22 years. We stared at each other, chests rising and falling in sync, the air thick with the unspoken. This wasn't just a breakdown. It was fate's cruel joke, forcing us into the one place we couldn't run. "Panels fried," Marcus muttered, punching buttons that stayed stubbornly dark. He yanked at the doors, sealed tighter than a politician's lips. "Shit, we're stuck, Eli. Like, really stuck." "Don't call me that," I snapped, but my voice wobbled. Eli was what he called me back when we were kids, before the betrayal that turned stepbrothers into strangers, before the night at that cramped Queen's party, when I'd finally mustered the courage to kiss a guy under the bleachers, only for Marcus to walk in and laugh loud, mocking, before spilling it all to our parents like it was yesterday's gossip. "Faggot's first crush," he joked later, like it was water under the bridge. It wasn't. It buried me deeper in the closet, cost me friends, made every family dinner a minefield. And yeah, maybe I'd punched him once, split his lip in the garage that summer. But who'd started the war? He shot me a look, the kind that could melt steel or break it, equal parts fire and plea. "Fine, Elijah, Mr. High and Mighty. You got a better plan? 'Cause I'm fresh out." I slid down the wall, knees to my chest, the carpet rough against my jeans. My phone had 0 bars, elevator Faraday cage, or whatever the hell engineers call it. Marcus paced the 4x6 space like a caged wolf, 3 steps one way, 3 back, his sneakers scuffing the floor. The building was a relic, pre-war grandeur with finicky lifts that the super swore were good as new. Our parents were downstairs, hosting some alumni brunch for Dad's Columbia days. Eggnog and awkward small talk, the kind where Mom pats my hand and asks if I'm seeing anyone nice. Code for straight and settled. Marcus was the prodigal, fresh off a bartending stint in the village, charming aunts with tales of near misses and neon nights. We'd come home for the holidays, colliding like asteroids, and now this. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Sweat beaded on my forehead, the air turning stale, heavy with our mingled scents. His cologne sharp like pine, mine faint soap from the morning rush. I watched him fiddle with the ceiling hatch, standing on his tiptoes, fingers brushing the latch but not quite gripping. Almost. Damn it. He dropped back, frustration etching lines around his mouth. "Why'd you do it, Marcus?" The words slipped out before I could cage them, raw as an open wound. We'd danced around it for years, but here, in this metal coffin, the truth clawed free. "That night, you could have just walked away, kept your mouth shut, but you didn't. You outed me like it was nothing, like I was a punchline." He froze, back to me, shoulders slumping. When he turned, his face was a storm, guilt twisting those pretty features into something haunted. Elijah, I was 17, okay? Scared shitless myself. I I liked that guy too, you know? The one you kissed, Jamie. I'd been working up the nerve for months. But then you beat me to it. And when I saw, it hit me. Like, if you could do it, why couldn't I? But instead of owning up, I lashed out. Told Mom and Dad to make it real for them. So it wouldn't be just my secret anymore. I laughed, bitter and broken, the sound echoing off the walls. Your secret? That's what this was about? You betrayed me to cover your own ass? Jesus, Marcos. I trusted you. You were the one person in this messed up family who got it, who saw me, really saw me. And you turned it into a weapon. He sank down across from me, knees bumping mine in the tight space, his hands raking through that messy brown hair. I know. God, I know. I've replayed it 1,000 times, waking up hating myself, the way your eyes went dead at breakfast the next day. You stopped talking to me, started locking your door. And yeah, I deserved it. But Eli, it wasn't just fear. It was jealousy. Seeing you brave like that, it gutted me, made me wish I was half the man you are. The confession hung there, thicker than the humid air, pulling at something deep in my gut, a thread I'd long ago snipped. I wanted to hate him, to let the anger armor me against the vulnerability cracking through. But his voice trembled, those hazel eyes locking on mine with a desperation that mirrored my own buried ache. We'd grown up in this blended chaos. Dad's sterile Park Avenue apartment clashing with Mom's bohemian vibes from her yoga retreats. Marcus brought the wild energy, dragging me to fire escapes for midnight smokes, sharing bootleg mixtapes of the National and Bon Iver under the covers when storms rattled the windows. He was my anchor until he wasn't. A jolt rocked the car then, violent and unannounced, sending us sprawling. Sparks erupted from the panel, acrid smoke curling up like fingers. The lights stuttered, plunging us into strobe-lit hell. Red, black, red. As the elevator groaned, cables whining in protest. It's dropping, Marcus yelled, lunging for me, his body a shield as we tumbled. My head cracked against the rail, stars exploding behind my eyelids, but his arms locked around me, solid and unyielding. When the shaking eased, we were tangled on the floor, his weight pressing me down, our breaths sinking in ragged harmony. Smoke stung my eyes, the alarm finally blaring, a shrill wail that drowned thought. We gotta get out, he rasped, hauling me up, his hand lingering on my waist a beat too long. Hatch, you boost me. I nodded, adrenaline sharpening everything. The heat of his skin, the frantic pulse in his throat. We stacked ourselves awkwardly, my hands on his hips, feeling the flex of muscle as he propelled upward. His boots slipped on my shoulder, and for a heart-stopping second, he dangled, fingers scrabbling at the edge. Marcus, grab it, I barked, shoving harder, my arms burning. He hooked a finger, then two, hauling with a guttural cry that tore something loose in me. The hatch popped free with a clang, revealing the dim shaft beyond. Ladder's rungs glinting like salvation, cables humming ominously. Your turn, he panted, dropping a makeshift rope from his belt. Thank God for his MacGyver brain, and leaning down, arm extended. But the car betrayed us again, shuddering like a beast awakening. A snap echoed, cable fraying, and we plummeted another foot, the jolt slamming the hatch half shut on his wrist. He yelped, trapped, face contorting in agony. Pull now. Panic clawed my throat. I yanked the rope, but it wasn't enough. The hatch pinned him, blood welling dark. Hold on. I'm coming. In a haze, I climbed after, wedging my foot in the frame, prying with all I had. Our eyes met through the gap, his wide with pain, mine with terror. And in that suspended hell, time fractured. I can't lose you, I whispered, the words spilling unbidden. Not again. Not like this. I've always loved you, Marcus. Not just as family. Everything. The admission shattered the air, raw and irrevocable. His free hand shot out, cupping my cheek, thumb brushing my lip with a tenderness that buckled my knees. Eli. Me too. Since the first stupid fort we built in the attic. I was too chicken shit to say it. Forgive me? Please. Tears blurred my vision, mixing with sweat and smoke. Yeah, I choked. Yeah, I do. With a surge born of that fragile truth, I wrenched the hatch, metal screeching as it gave. He tumbled free, pulling me up with him onto the narrow ledge. We clung to the ladder, bodies pressed close against the void. The city sprawled twinkling below like a promise. Sirens wailed distant, help finally coming. But in those endless minutes, we climbed together, inch by grueling inch, his bloodied hand in mine, whispers of "I got you" weaving through the fear. Betrayal's scar throbbed, but forgiveness bloomed tentative, a seed in cracked soil. We didn't speak of the love outright, not yet. Not with the wind howling and death nipping our heels. But it hummed between us, electric as the frayed wires below. By the time firefighters hauled us onto the roof, the dawn was breaking over the Hudson, painting the skyline in bruised purples and golds. Paramedics wrapped Marcus's wrist, checked my concussion, while our parents swarmed in hysterics below. Mom's sobs, Dad's gruff relief. But Marcus and I? We stole a moment by the ledge, shoulders brushing, his pinky hooking mine in silent vow. "You're stuck with me now," he murmured, that grin flickering back, softer, real. I squeezed his finger, heart steady for the first time in years. Wouldn't have it any other way. We rode down in the service elevator later, the world's safest cage, hands brushing accidental on purpose. The betrayal? It lingered, a shadow in our story, but so did the climb, the raw, redemptive pull of teamwork, of choosing each other over the fall. In the end, that's the American dream, isn't it? Not the penthouses or the parties, but the messy, human scramble to hold on, to build something true from the wreckage. And damn if we weren't just getting started.